Hi, I'm Hannah Guthrie. I'm the vendor specialist on the VMware team here at Arrow, and I'm here with Steve.
Hi, Hannah. I'm Steve Horobin. I work in the modern data center practice here at Arrow, and I manage our team.
So I wanted to ask you a couple questions around private cloud today, and specifically on the benefits. So what's the difference between private and public cloud in your opinion?
Right, so getting down to very basics, okay, so good thing. If you go for a public cloud, you're working with the likes of the big hyperscalers. It's one of those words they tend to use. So the likes of Microsoft and AWS and Google. And what they do is they build mega data centers. You're looking at gigawatt data centers where they have thousands and thousands of racks of equipment and processors and exabytes of storage and huge, great big networks. And this creates their entire cloud infrastructure. Then what they do is when you register with the hyperscalers, they then start and allocate you certain elements of their cloud that they've created. So you'll get a certain amount of compute, a certain amount of storage, a certain amount of networking. And then also in their, what they call the marketplace, I guess, you'd go and have a look at other software solutions you may want to add to that. Generally around security, so making sure you have a protected environment, making sure you have a means of protecting your data, backing up your data, restoring your data. And that creates this big multi-tenanted environment. Now, many customers look at this and think it's great, I'm getting value for money, the hyperscalers are helping me out here, I'm not having to buy my own equipment. But some people then think, well, great, I like the idea of a cloud, but I'd like a private cloud. So I'd like my own cloud. So what they do there is they work with some of the hypervisor providers. We're talking about VMware today. So you can take your own hardware, you can use the VMware software, VCF 9, the latest release. You've got VMware Cloud Foundation. You load that onto your base technology. You put a number of servers together into a cluster. You put your own networking onto that. Part of the VMware Foundation, again, is VCF 9. You get the NSX networking. And then you put your storage onto that as well. So you get the vSAN storage technology. So this creates everything you need on your own hardware, on your own technology, on your own premises, in your own data center. So you're building very much a private cloud. It's your own cloud internally within your own organization. So if you go for a big public cloud, you're sharing somebody else's investment. If you go for a private cloud, it's yours.
Perfect, thank you. And in what circumstances would you recommend your public versus private cloud solution?
I think it's very much on the type of applications that clients are using. Whether you're using cloud, like you'll be bursting into the cloud. When cloud first came along, and I think the analogy is always made back to Ticketmaster and the likes of that. So when you're selling the next batch of tickets for the next concert that some of the big stars are going to be doing on their big world tours, just for that instance, when you're selling the tickets from 10 o'clock on a certain day, you may want to burst into the cloud, take additional computing power, and then have that able to handle the ticket sales and all the closure and the payments. And at the end of it, when all the tickets are sold, then you don't need that technology, you can back out of it. So that's a good way of using and bursting into the public cloud. But a lot of people need to have a private cloud because of maybe financial legislation, some of the restrictions in the industry they're in, like healthcare, private healthcare. And in those instances, you have to have a private cloud. So that means you're not putting potentially private confidential data into a public cloud environment. I'm not saying that's not secure, but the legislation may say it needs to be on your premises, in your data center, in your private cloud, and protected in this way. So there's a lot of reasons why public cloud can be the better way to go forward. And that's, as we said, supported by VCF 9 with the latest generation of the VMware software and the hypervisor features and functionality. A great solution for private cloud.
Perfect. It's that extra layer of security that you can get in there.
Very much so. Yeah, I think people are always worried these days about all the bad actors, as they call them, and people trying to penetrate your data, replicate your data, or encrypt your data. So if they can get into your cloud in some way, then they have that ability to really mess up life for you. So if you have a good private cloud and you can put the necessary security software on there that is going to meet your requirements and standards and meet the industry regulations, then you have a secure cloud. You do the best you possibly can, maybe around some of your corporate standards. Some people have a standard they have to adopt or adhere to, so they will take private clouds in different countries, set up their own private cloud, but then use the corporate standard security software. So that, again, with the private cloud enables you to do that. So very, very good from a protection point of view. Yeah.
And what makes a full stack private cloud approach so beneficial?
I think it's ownership. You put in the full stack on, as you say. So you've got the hardware, you've got the networking with NSX, you've got the storage with vSAN. So you're working with VMware tightly in a kind of VMware private cloud VCF deployment. But when you put in the full stack on, there's obviously things outside of VMware that you need on security posture and solutions on that area. But also it gives you that development capability as well in the future. So if you wanted to start and modernize applications or develop new applications, you've got the capability of putting Kubernetes on there. So you can start and give people that sort of container-based development environment. So I think the full stack can be very, very rich. So it enables you to work with, deploy and operate existing applications, start and develop new applications. So every organization is always trying to create some feature or functionality that positions them ahead of their competitors. So if they can use something like Kubernetes, they've got that fast development environment, that speed to market, and they can maintain that step ahead of their competitors and gain market share. And that's what they're always trying to do. So if you can build that full stack approach, then I think it's a rich environment and something that people should adopt. It's a great solution.
Perfect, thank you.
It's an absolute pleasure.